which will get posted on our website. When they're posted, that gives you all the information that was said at this meeting. Now we can come back and triple and quadruple that and everything else. But if people go to the website and read the minutes, they'll see they're taking care of these items. They're doing this, they're doing this.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying with
So,
Kit.
yes.
I agree, and maybe that's it. That it's and I don't mind doing it, but it's more as we've talked about so much pushing people there. You know, how do we push them to the website to get this information? Hey, we discussed these things. Just wanted to let you know we finished our meeting. Don't forget, you can get all the details. You can view the recording and the
we can do is put it
meetings.
on the website to read. I want to get away from the Facebook.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that. Whether
Well, I mean,
it's an
even if
email
we
that says
attach
the
it to an
minutes are
email,
up there.
They're not gonna-
the percentage of people who actually take the time to read it is going to be
That's true.
minimal.
That's true.
And the ones that don't read are going to be the ones that complain.
They do.
Right.
They do.
And all we can do is say, go to the website. That's all we can do.
It's
And
just,
I'm
I mean,
going to tell
I
you,
agree.
I'm going to look at the annual meeting. Half the people came to the annual meeting didn't know what was going on, but they went to the website, they knew everything that was going on. It's communication, and it's sad. Anytime you get a group of people, half going to know everything, the other half don't care. And I'm so thankful that this is a common thing because we care.
Right.
Whether it's negative input, positive input, you care, and that's why you input. And I think it's beautiful.
But going to what Jennifer is trying to get, right now, from what I understand, most complaints we're getting now are from the pool. Right?
Yeah, and it's people
99%
sitting down there when they
and-
see, you know.
And if we back and just think, what if we do a trial run between now and the next board meeting to post something and say, updates, simple updates have been made to the pool, go to the website.
Yep.
Post it
And
where?
Whether I
we can
post
laminate it somewhere down there just to put it up temporarily. Let's try it until our next meeting and see if it makes a difference. If it doesn't make a difference, let's squash it.
And there is a bulletin board down there enclosed in plastic or glass. We could put it in right with the fireplace.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm for doing anything. I never said
Yeah,
don't do
it's-
something.
yeah.
We want them to actually walk past it now.
Yeah, mine
It's on the
was
fireplace.
just giving them, I
Right.
think,
Yeah,
this
don't-
communication situation. We've for years been trying to push people to the website.
Yeah.
Kid has done an amazing job, I think y'all have, in
Kids done above me.
building, right, and
Above and
his
beyond.
his communication. But to push people there, it's gonna take little bits here and
Yeah.
there until they know that's the main place. They can go complain all they want on Facebook, but here's where the information is, and if
Yeah.
you're interested,
Yeah.
you know,
And
go
that-
look.
And that's
So
what
we can make a
we
sign out.
won't have to tell them what was done. Updates have been made to the pool. Go to the website.
Yep,
That's all we need
here's
to
the
say.
plan to deal with
Yeah.
pool issues or whatever.
I don't know if that bulletin board is under key lock or is it just open with
It's
you?
not there right now, it was taken down.
It's been taken down just
And
recently.
it was taken down when it was painted, and
Mhm.
it's now inside the, where it's leaning, last time I knew at the pool party, it's leaning up against the wall where the racking is, like if you.
Right
come
outside
out-
the
Those
water
shelves,
heater.
Those shelves in there.
The shelves, exactly, it's leaning, it hasn't been put back up somewhere. We could put it up out there, or the other thing I think is maybe the women, between the door to the women's and the door to the men's room.
You know,
Or you could even affix it to the gate. I mean, once the
Yeah.
website's going anywhere,
Yeah.
all we'd have to do is say pool improvements have been made.
I could
website.
laminate it,
Yeah,
right,
and just
exactly.
put on
You know,
both gates, and
right.
they see
and
that.
I had brought this up, and I'm glad you bring it up because I brought this up with Kit, and Kit's the one that told me about the thing over the fireplace, and it's down now. But when you go to a lot of other subdivisions, they actually have a sign that's put it in the ground or whatever, and as you leave, you see it, you read it,
Yeah.
and it says, "Don't forget meeting this month. Don't forget
Yeah, we
dues
could-
are due this
Yeah,
month."
we could do that.
You know,
That'd
and
be
I
great
and
to
I
put
thought
to
it was
the
great.
inside of them.
Like a
And
marquee
you
or
can buy like a little
Yeah.
marquee, and you can
Yeah,
buy them
you're right.
aluminum. We could put it. I'm just
The only thing I'll say about that is when it's fixed and it's always there, people
Right.
ignore it. So if we did something like, bought a splashier looking sign that said, "Hey, HOA meeting" and whatever, we could even do it.
Well,
for
that's
$20
the
we
thing
can
why
get.
I hand do them. I mean, I just need to plan
Yeah, it's something
further
that looks
ahead and
different.
stick them in the ground when we're having like the pool party and the Easter
Yeah, that
thing,
gets their
up
attention.
there, because everybody comments about it. They're like, I saw your sign. Okay.
Yeah.
Is your sign redoable?
Yeah, I mean, I can do that, or depends. The ones I've done, like the pool party, I've kept them. I've done them in permanent, but it's just a corrugated. It's a
I know what you're speaking of.
Corplex.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've got all the stakes to them and everything, and I just stick 2 of them going up the hill, reading from both sides. So yeah, HOA meeting, I can easily make some that do that.
Mhm.
Okay. And of course, if there's any cost inferred, make sure you get.
Yeah, I mean it.
Because that corrugated stuff is very inexpensive.
Yeah, I
And the
mean
stakes you use
this
over and over and
time,
over.
yeah, most of them exactly. And this time I ran across the Home Depot. I mean, you can get them there.
Yeah. So we want to go for that.
I mean, I can make them nice and permanent.
Let's
I
at
mean, I
least
can
do
print
it
'em
and see
out.
what type of feedback we get.
Yeah.
And we
So-
can always, hey, if they aren't paying attention, just spot it.
Yeah, anything that's going to be, we use it more than once, we can
Yeah.
pay for one, maybe even a nicer one. But I just think I've gone through these neighborhoods where they have the nice
Yeah.
board
board,
or
right.
thing.
Marquee board.
But I don't, when it's always there,
Yeah,
people
I
don't
can-
look
I
at
can
right.
any
do
changes
some.
We're
on
gonna
it.
add that in the
Yeah,
changes.
let's take
So
it
let's,
down and put it up when appropriate.
Exactly.
So let's go ahead and go with Jen's idea.
Yeah.
And Jen, any cost that you incur, because you're talking about something less than $20-25 for every occurrence, maybe. And we'll just put that in the budget, whatever, if that's okay with everybody. And that way, we'll have these signs staked there on the way out, maybe 1 or 2 on the way in, and people can see it because it'd be different every time. You're like, ooh, that's a different sign. I'm gonna look at it. Something to read.
I'm with Kid. Don't have them out 365 days. a year.
No.
Right.
It's only when
Just for
something's
the-
coming up.
Yeah,
It just becomes
Just like we had to
background
meet
noise.
today.
Uh-huh.
Just like we had to
Yeah.
meet today, probably put it out there tomorrow, leave it out there for 3 or 4 days, and take it back up.
Yeah.
You know, that way you can say, hey, we had a meeting, go to the website for new updates, new whatever,
Yeah.
and then pull it up after 3 or 4 days, and everybody should know about it.
Right. I mean, there comes a point where you've taken so many measures to disseminate the information that you can't really
Right.
entertain complaints. It's like we've done A, B, and C. So
If you
And
got
I'm-
complaints, come to the meeting.
Yeah, and I'm fine to go like I did the pool, every once in a while. I can create a little flyer and get it out there and, hey,
Okay.
Yeah, I will
So
say
that'll-
the one
that'll
thing
work.
about communication, whenever someone calls or me or something and they want to tell me something, usually I say, well, you know as much as I do. It's out
love
there.
when
Like
you say that.
I don't know if there's anything else I can tell you about it. That makes it easier. There are fewer complaints because they already know as much as we do. Right?
We just assume you know everything.
yeah.
Mhm.
You're a CEO.
Yeah.
I assume he knows everything too.
You're darn good.
I like it.
Okay, so we got that, kind of got sidetracked. I'm going to get back on here. We're going to move to you now, Mr. Fields.
Okay.
This is Mr. Fields.
Fielder.
I'm sorry.
You're not good with names.
like
And
fuel doesn't
Can we
like
call you
common
that?
spelling.
Like baseball.
Yeah.
he is basically our pond committee. And if everybody does not know, we have a major pond pump that is out. A big one in the center. So I'll let him go from
So
there.
I thought I'd do it in 3 parts. One is to sort of give you a general idea of how the pond works and what it does. And it's because I haven't done this before with this group, and I've been doing this since 2014 when the last major repairs were I interfaced with the company. And so I'd like to do that, and that'll take me 3 to 5 minutes. And if you got questions, give me those questions. And then I'll talk about the issue that we have now. And then I'll sort of introduce a new issue that I need to figure a way to deal with that I might need your help as in labor and sense of cleaning some brush up. First part is it is a retention pond. It's not a feature. Every storm drain in this facility drains into. And the whole idea of aeration, and the pond itself drains off into Mud Creek through the marshy area into the creek eventually.
Noses.
I'm thinking of Mud.
It's
It-
noses
is it
behind
noses?
us. Yeah,
Okay.
it's noses.
Noses on that side? Okay, yeah, drains into noses. And what happens is that the pond level gets to a certain point, and then there's a scupper on the other end. It looks like a tower, and it overflows in there, and then it goes out.
Right.
So there's about. I was in there once when I still had a dinghy and I still had my boat on Altoona, and I could not find the bottom reaching with my arms, so it's over 6 feet deep.
How deep is the whole pond, do we know?
It's over 6 feet in
6 feet from the where you were
from
then?
the water level, to the bottom. And on the years that we had droughts and whatnot, the water level obviously went down. And so the whole point of the retention pond features in the fountains, not the lights, but the fountains themselves, is to take out any chemicals or bad things that could cause the pond to be a hazard to the creek downstream, or to kind of get smelly and nasty. And so what's happening with the aeration is it's putting oxygen back in the water through the fountains, and we run them mainly during the daylight hours because there's a secondary, the sun burning off some of the bad ash. But the aeration encourages what we call good bacteria,
Right.
which then eats away at what would then become muck. And if you didn't have the aeration, this thing would eventually fill up with sediment, and it would be a disaster. And we actually talked about years ago what that would look like with the mosquitoes. In fact, probably 10 years ago, we had a huge flock of geese. And they carried this green algae,
Yes.
and we literally had to dump several gallons of this chemical in to burn off that algae because it didn't, the aeration system wouldn't deal with it. It was almost, it looks so thick with the green stuff, it almost looks like you could walk across it.
And did we put more turtles or something in? I
Well,
thought we put turtles
you got
in
6
there at one
turtles
point
that came
too.
out of my koi ponds, but that's because they escaped.
Oh no, okay, that's what.
No, most of the turtles that are in there are
Right.
snapping or
Right.
turtles that are there naturally. And just as a point of interest, when they first started this thing, and it's part of the eco balance, I don't know if it's a significant part. There are 6 sterilized carp in there. And it's been a year. Yeah, it's been a year since I've seen them. Carp are like koi fish are my koi fish are this big, and so koi fish are these they're like koi fish. Koi fish are carp, but the last time I saw them, I about fell in the water because they were up where there was a shallow part and there was like 4 of them laying there, and they're probably about 4.5 feet long, and they're probably as big.
Wow.
So if there were any smaller fish, there aren't any more.
Yeah, but they're big algae eaters.
Yeah.
And a carp is a bottom feeder. It's like a catfish. The equipment is very simple. You got 3 floats, 2 smaller ones on either end, a bigger one in the middle. Each one of those, and I stand corrected now, there's not 4 lights, there's 3 lights, so there's no lights out on the smaller ones. So there's lights on each, 3 lights on each, and each one has a pump in it. The 2 smaller ones, they're either half horsepower or 2/3 horsepower. The one in the middle is 1 horsepower. And all of this is, it's kind of like a bleach bottle, plastic float, and all of this stuff is in the case of the lights, they're in watertight units. When we did the last maintenance, well, we don't do a great deal of maintenance. When we did the last maintenance, it was 2014. We put LED lights in, and so the lights haven't been changed in a long time. There's 1 light out in the middle. The diode, the LED lights are like $35 a piece. I'm just going to have him replace the 3 lights. It will be an extra labor, but that way, that once he pulls out the unit, the only thing that controls those units is on this end of the pond, the opposite end from the scupper. There's a panel box. Inside that panel box are timers and fuses, and there's one for every pump and light circuit. And my wife and I go in and we adjust them, and they're just pin kind of. The
How
old pin,
often do you have to adjust them?
I adjust them at daylight savings time.
Oh, okay.
And I can make the lights, I think you talked to my wife, we can make the lights run, they're not part of the retention pond, take care of the bad stuff that's going in there. We can adjust those so that they're on a short period of time, maybe dark to midnight or something. And I think they're running just a few hours. Very simple equipment. The cool thing about the equipment is the detailed records that we have on all of the equipment, this is all original equipment. It's, somebody had to correct me, but 16 years old? I
A
think
little
that's
bit
right.
longer than that, it'd be like 18 years old.
Okay, it's all original, 18-year-old equipment. Light bulbs have been changed every once in a while. Trying to remember the name of it. It's Aquascape, I think, is the original company.
Atlanta.
Well, no, that's the.
That's the lights?
That's the contractor who is the original installer.
Okay.
Atlanta at Lightscape, Dave Parks, he was here 18 years ago. He put them in for Williams Craft. The pumps are expensive. They're not cheap. One of the smaller pumps, I believe it's the one closest to us, has been totally replaced. That was in 2014, and I want to say it was $700 or $800. The pump on the far end has been rebuilt, and I believe the one in the middle is. That's pretty. I mean, these things are running a lot.
It's really good.
Yes, and so
They don't mean anything like they used to.
the pump in the middle. Questions on how the pump works, how the pond works. The pump in the middle tripped, and so I went down and reset it and talked to Roger, and Roger and I agreed. Because when I turned it back on, it came on, but there was a howling noise. And so we turned it right off once we figured that out. I talked to Dave. The manufacturer immediately called for the serial numbers. They knew exactly what the pump was. They had these big long records in it. It's a bearing. It's very likely that it can be repaired. But these pumps are 16 years old, and it's an original pump. And if we get it rebuilt, it is totally rebuilt. They go in and do everything. The whole thing comes apart and it gets rebuilt, and it's $1,200 plus a little bit of shipping, and the cost of Dave's crew, which if you want to see something, it's kind of humorous and kind of fun to watch at the same time. But they lower a boat in, they go out, they disconnect the cable because it's anchored in the middle, and then they literally drag it up over the top, and it takes 3 guys to get it up, particularly the middle one, it's just heavy. And so they'll drag it up, and then they'll pull the pump out, take it to the local distributor who will ship it off. I think it's like $60 for shipping, get it back and forth. If it's what we think it is, it's $1,200. But there's no guarantees until they open it up. So I think this is with the crew and everything, it's looking like $2,550. Throw in about $100 for it. As long as we got it out, one light's out, we'll have to replace all 3 with LEDs back in. So $2,650 all in. If it's not fixable, that pump is no longer manufactured. They've gone to a 4-wire pump as opposed to a 3-wire pump. And what the 4th wire does is it puts the capacitor that's in the motor in the box.
So that was the cost for repair.
Yeah,
Rebuild it,
$2,650 to repair. If it's not repairable, or if it breaks again, I suspect these numbers would be the numbers we'd be looking at in the future. But it could be another 10 years before this pump has a problem. And so this 4-wire pump requires them to run the wire all the way back to the box and add a different box. And what it does is it's taking the capacitor out of the motor and it's putting it up there. I suspect that means that if a capacitor ever went out, they could test it and replace it up there, but they don't make the motor down there.
But running that wiring,
Yeah,
it have to
it's
be
not-
drained and go through.
No,
and
it doesn't.
It just goes through conduit or something.
The wire runs on the bottom of the pond and it's shielded, and then they literally detach the 3-inch,
Okay,
might be
pull it
4-inch.
through.
There's like a 4-inch conduit that comes up over the wall
Yep,
and then
I've
over to
seen
the
that.
box. They'll just detach that and then run the wire in there.
Run the new one
And then they'll
through.
add a box to the back of the box that's already there. I hesitate to give you a percentage, but I think it's a low likelihood that will have to happen. But obviously that's the major fountain and that's the major aeration that goes on to the retention pond that needs to be done. Did I cover that?
How much is
And
the
what's
new
the
one?
cost for the new one?
Oh, it's still pretty much double. It's so it would be 47.62.
And do we know warranty and like lifetime of the new one? Because as Cole was saying, you don't
I
make
think
it
it's
like
no, it's 3 years warranty on the parts of it.
That's
What?
on a new one or the rebuilt
I
one?
think it's both.
What happens
Because
if,
that's what's on the bottom of both.
do you know, and sorry I'm getting so specific, Ed, but what happens if we pay them to come, pull it out, it's sent to the company to get rebuilt, and they find that it's not able to be
Dave
rebuilt?
Parks, who's been there since the first day, he's really a straight contractor. He'll tell me, I'll tell him, we'll authorize them to send us a new motor with all the wiring in the box.
And that's when we pay for the new one. Is there added expense then for them doing that to find out that we need a new one? You see what I'm saying? If
No, the price is
No appliance or
2,600 to
whatever.
rebuild. Once they
Right.
open it up,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
all-
rebuildable,
Right.
not rebuildable, then they add that extra, it's like
Right.
$2,000 into your new
Yeah,
pump.
and so
And that's all.
That'd be really deceptive.
you know, I never asked Dave
So,
clearly,
yeah.
but I mean, worst case, he's gonna charge us for the shipping cost.
But it comes from the same company. That's,
Yeah.
I guess, what I was.
So
they do
the
it
shipping
all.
cost of the new one coming back,
Yeah.
it break even on that part. And he's built all that into the cost. I think that's it.
Yeah,
And so,
And he did all the rebuilds for the ones in 2014, right?
he installed it originally, and it's done
he's done all the work.
Yeah.
all the work ever
And they're
since.
still running.
Uh, I just want to say, first of all, thanks for the education thing on it,
Yeah.
because I didn't know
Right.
what the ponds were for.
Yeah, I thought it was ornamental, dude.
That's
Yeah, yeah. Someone actually, every once in a while, somebody was saying to me,
That's
you know,
a great
our
function for the pond.
Yeah.
So I understand
our
that.
feature. It's not a feature. It's a retention.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
working retention pond.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And
really
I
do.
don't know for sure, but I suspect that having that aeration is part of how that thing originally got approved by the county in the sense of the runoff and
Yeah,
the sense of
and,
the original sewer plan that the city
and a
engineers
couple
looked
other
at.
notes on the pond, if I may add, when
I could be
we,
wrong.
based on the development and fast forwarding to me talking to Cobb County Water and all kinds of things, we had the kids in the neighborhood go out and replace those no dumping, on all the drains. I don't know if you've seen them, it's
Right.
a metal thing. Because we have neighbors who walk their dogs and scoop the poop
So-
and throw it in there. And that's what I've been trying to do. It goes to the pond.
Yes.
Yeah, and so let me tell you about that.
Yes.
That was going to be part of my lead into what I might need help on making. If we had this meeting 5 years ago, I would tell you that there were huge grass clippings, cans, bottles, balls, newspapers that fell into the street. Somebody just kicked them down
Yep.
the sewer. We put out notifications to everybody. I'm not saying we're perfect, but I used to spend hours with my big long pole that I bought to
Yeah,
do
I
this
remember
stuff
seeing
with the
you out
net.
there.
I haven't done that in over a year. And there's a few cans I can go out there, but
Is that because there's not as much, or you just not
No,
haven't
there's
done
not
it?
enough.
There's not as much,
there's,
and
I mean, if there's one can there, I'm not going to go out
Right,
and get
right.
the pole. And
But for
so
some reason, 5 years
plugging-
ago, it was a big problem.
Yeah,
it was bad.
and if somebody's still putting dog waste in there, I mean, whenever I see it, I'll tell them what's going on, but I haven't seen it in a while, and I couldn't tell
I
anyways.
think
if they-
it's gotten better, and on that side of the trash that was in there,
And we no longer have our geese. I don't know. If anybody that's on the edge of the pond, we had a breeding pair of geese for
oh my
about
gosh,
6 years.
many years.
Yes.
And I think the turtles, that's why I was asking about
The
the turtles.
The
I think
family
they
over
ate
on
all
that
the-
side actually built the platform because the small baby geese couldn't
Yeah,
get out.
snapping turtles will eat ducks.
Yes, and that's what,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yeah, they'll pull them down,
Oh,
grab them
yeah.
by the feet, and pull them down.
And they were eating the eggs and everything.
Yeah, we lost
and
one
yeah.
of the mothers a couple of years ago.
Well,
There was a second mother, but to a fox. But
I wanna move on with the meeting, because
Sure, yeah.
we moving on and
All right.
other. I wanna put a motion on the floor. Just wanna put a motion on the floor that we go ahead with the hospital repairing of the middle pump, and go ahead and replace the LED lights. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Can I motion? Can I get a vote that we go ahead and start this process to repair the middle pump, and replace the lights?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 A's. Do we have any nays? So we're going to start that process. So and you already got my email, you got Kit's email. Just keep us in the loop of what's going on.
You have the, you want to contact Dave and drop him a check for
Yeah, I can do
He has
that.
to be paid in advance.
$12.75 he's looking for.
Okay.
Because he's gonna put some money into it to start off.
Yeah, if you already have the invoice, if you can just email it to me, I can, or if you have a printout or whatever, I can do that.
So
too.
we'll go ahead and get that started, because obviously we need a big pump cut for the
Make sure it's
oxygen
on
and
the-
everything else.
Yeah.
Because I hate to have a smell start working in front.
Oh, yeah.
And with that being said, with what you said, we can do this two ways. We either shut up because it's getting better, or put another note out there to try to tell people don't put stuff down there. These
I
sort of-
think it's something that could go on our newsletter
That's
and
what I'm
on the
asking,
website.
but since it's getting
Absolutely.
better, sometimes if you
Yeah,
put a notion out there, it might get worse.
Don't bring it to attention. Yeah.
So we don't bring it to attention, just leave it alone since it's getting better, and just wait for you to, as you watch it.
If it's not a problem, don't worry.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I think the fact that you're like the committee.
Yeah, so
I think
I,
that speaks
I
to
If
can,
you
I can
see
see
it
the
getting
pond from all
worse-
3 decks, particularly when there's no leaves on the trees, and so I mean, I see what's going on.
Okay.
Just quickly,
The clean.
I'm assuming, I've never seen a set of plans, but I have a construction background. I'm assuming that it's a cinder block wall with stacked stone adhered to it. I don't know how large the stacked stone is, but there's a stacked stone. Growing out of the stacked stone, less significantly just 2 years ago, but getting to be more significantly, are small trees literally growing out of the side. and
Because
coming up.
it's coming from the outside.
Yeah, and where it's worst is on the scupper. The tower has got some pretty significant trees that are now 5-6 feet tall.
Those
And
roots
it's-
are going to damage the.
That's
It's
where,
gonna drop.
what it's going to do is if the stack stone is just in front of the cinder block, it's just going to start
Separate
breaking
out.
open
Yeah.
the
So what is a suggestion on that?
And so, what I want to try to do is figure out if we can do it from the side of the pond and not have to introduce any chemicals.
Right.
And so, I've got this idea that there's a shingling. It's called a hoe, but it's a hoe with a flat spade blade. And I think I can shear them off from the side, and then just pick them up. If that doesn't work, we just need to find somebody that's got a small dinghy, and several of us will go out there and clip them off and collect them up. But obviously the man hours, in the sense that once we get into that, we could do it in 2-3 hours with 5 guys. I'd be out there for days by myself.
Yeah.
clipping them off.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
How deep are they coming in? Could we, I mean, once you cut them off, could we approach it from the outside that it's just a few inches down from where it's
Well,
going in?
the spade that I'm talking about is about the size of a long-handled shovel, and I can reach them from there. If I
Some of
can
the ones
shear
are
'em.
like 3 or 4 feet deep, they're probably.
They could be as far as down as 5 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
so you can
above.
approach
They're
it
about
from
2
where
feet
it's
above the
going.
water
Because
line.
they're growing up.
Yeah. Just remember the water line is
Right,
down,
it's
down
down
6
there.
feet.
Yeah, you'll kill the trees if you do that, but you don't want to introduce like a growth regulator to the water or anything.
Well, I mean, I thought that we were talking about what I refer to affectionately as crappy myrtles before. They'll just keep growing back, and so at some point, once we get it cleared out, if they continue to grow back, there's probably some chemicals that we can paint on the exposed
Yeah.
area when we cut them off, and that'll kill the root systems on them, and that'll probably take care of it for 5 or 6 years. But I kind of like to not introduce any chemicals if we don't
Yeah,
have to.
'cause
At
it goes
least.
right
I'll tell you
into
what,
the creek.
with that being said.
I mean, that's why I said if you guys feel different, just tell me.
No, that's a very good one. With that being said, you have my email, you have his. Keep me in the process of what you're doing and what you think you will need for volunteers, whatever, and we'll put it out. And if no one wants to volunteer, then we'll just have to go to an outside source and get it done.
Yeah, if any of you know anybody that's got a small dinghy or a kayak that's significant enough that you can stand on, because
Somebody in
We've
here's got
got-
a kayak. I was saying, I know
I
you
can
got
get the
kayaks, but can you
outside.
stand
I
up?
believe I'm going to be able to get the outside with the spade, but the tower is the worst part. And I mean, literally the back side of the tower as it faces the creek, it's just one big tree.
Wow.
Yeah,
And,
and that's just very
and
quickly.
so that means you got to get in there.
that whole area.
There's a ladder down that side that you can go down.
And I know
So-
because I went behind my neighbor's house, which her property backs up to that area that's HOA, because that's
Yeah.
all HOA responsibility back there. That there's a path there, and there's a ton of trash. I've in the fall went back with axes and stuff to try and cut it because there's so much overgrowth back there. tons of trash because it's been built up.
In the water?
No, on the back side of the water,
Oh.
where it
I was gonna say, I
drains
haven't seen it in
over.
water.
Where it drains over, so I took the kids, we're cleaning up and doing as much as possible, but yeah, if we
see, I don't
get
even,
on
I don't
some,
even know if that's still on our property. I suspect it's.
it is because, and I found out
Because
that's.
there's houses that run further back on.
Well, the property owners are right here, and it's a spot that goes because
Yeah.
Pebblebrook has been trying to get into there to tap into our sewer, to build houses back there, and that's how I came about all this.
Okay.
So,
All the control systems we're talking about practically are back
Okay. Let's get it fixed then.
here. If you look out your back,
You got some new
you're
incentive
gonna, you're
there.
gonna see
Yeah.
the control panels fitting right there onto your
Right
thing.
there.
Whatever you need from me, I'm good for it.
Okay, so we'll keep communicating about that, and you'll keep us informed, and we'll keep going on, because obviously if those trees get bigger, they're gonna break that wall, because roots will break anything. So that's something we need to really,
do soon, right, Ed?
Yeah.
Or no? It's not a wait till fall time, is it?
I was thinking, I'm rehabbing the meeting, so I was thinking when it got cool.
That's what I was thinking too.
That's all, that's
I
all.
think we'll
Yeah.
have more people.
And if I find out right away that
Available
it
to
doesn't
do
work
that.
with the spade, and when you try sharing them off with the spade, there's a possibility that it might chip the
Right.
the block. We may be in the kayak cut them off.
I've got one of those spades too.
Do you?
Yeah.
And I
Can I
think
borrow
our
it?
options
'Cause I
to
was
get
gonna
people
buy
in the
one.
neighborhood
Sure.
to
I've got
come
one.
out and help, like when we did up front, is better when it's cooler.
All right, well,
Have a work day.
that's,
And
I've
maybe
learned
we
so
can-
much this afternoon about that pond, I'm telling you, I've learned a lot.
Well, I hope.
I mean,
didn't know
I
whether
feel
you
like
guys
I'm-
knew or didn't
I'm
know.
pond
so
103
No, I
right
had no
now.
idea.
Well, it's mostly a mystery because only a select few people live
Yeah.
around it. So
I don't
if you
think
live in the
anybody
front, you
else
never
does.
come back here.
They don't.
Matthew used to keep track of it, and at some point, he said, "Ed, you got it."
You got it.
And at that point, there was some major repairs that needed to be done. This was 2014, and I get a phone call once a year from you guys. And you want to still be the pond committee? Yeah, sure.
But we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
So,
Because
So keep
that-
on being-
That's really invisible
and
to
if,
me.
and if I'm not here for
Something
your
about
meeting,
pond.
just call me or dial me in and put me on a speaker or something.
That's beautiful.
I travel a lot, so.
All right,
So
we're gonna,
Clay, you better learn from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, huh?
We'll be
Yeah.
I'm on
Well,
deck.
man, we're grooming you, man.
Because you got just as good a view as I do.
Okay.
And the
cool.
controls.
Cool. Oh, yeah.
I know.
we're gonna move on to the social committee. We knew we had we did have an egg hunt, which was very, very successful. And I hope we do it again next year. Very, very successful with the kids. A lot of feedback on it. I didn't hear anything negative. Not one thing, which I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus.
My news is good news.
The pool party, same thing. I heard nothing negative. I want to thank the pool committee that put it on. Oh, you were part of that, weren't you? Just across the street. Naomi, I know it was.
Naomi, yeah, Naomi
guess
was
so.
doing it.
It was awesome. I didn't attend, but I heard it was awesome. Again, I did have one negative, and that's what we're working on, and that's the black algae and pool being debris in it, and that's what we're working on. We're working on it.
Kudos to the neighborhood DJ. Kept the party
Oh,
rocking
yeah,
all night.
Uh-huh.
For all day.
Yeah, I think it was a beautiful thing.
jack of all
I wish
trades.
there was someone here if we could just pass it on, our appreciativeness for the free pizza.
Yes.
Because that was
Oh, Kelly.
beautiful.
Yes.
Future events, we know we do the Halloween thing. We can keep that going. I thought that was beautiful. I would like to, for future, I'd like to include maybe a Christmas party.
Yes.
I think that'd be nice. We could do it like we do the Halloween party in someone's driveway. Or maybe we could, if the funds available, we could get a hold of some party place or even do a very clean party at the church. You know, but I just think that'd be nice to end the year up with a nice party. You know, I belong to another organization, and that's what we do. And it's like, oh yeah, you bring everything together at the end, and it's beautiful. And then go right with our January meeting and say, let's start all over with it. So just some ideal suggestions. But I think that if anything turns out the way the pool party and the egg hunt thing, there can't be nothing but positive.
And we've talked about, just a quick update on that, I've talked to Kit, there's been some great ideas and we love additional ideas, anything. Sharon and Lisa have been great about pickleball and the different things that they're doing with tennis. Kit's talked about basketball, 3-on-3, horse tournament type of things, which is fabulous. We did, for those of you who've been here a while, back years ago, the movie down at the pool area. We put up the big screen. We've still got that. We can do those things. And talking about Christmas party, we did, just happened to be a birthday, but Hudson Grill up by AMC, they have a party side. They have a side there that you can rent, but you don't have to rent it as long as you are committing $500 in food and beverage for the night or more. It's free. They will book it for you.
That's awesome.
So we happened to, for the birthday party, invite some neighbors, and everybody was like, "This is great. We need to do this more often." So even once a quarter, having that for different people, you know.
And everybody pay for their own food.
That's it. You go pay for your own
bring your
food and
family, pay
beverage
for your own
and-
food, but you're getting to mingle with your neighbors. You have a good time.
There's pool and games, you know,
That's
whatever.
awesome.
Yeah. So there's many opportunities. You know, having stuff for the kids, but then having other things. The book club is still going and picking up steam, and
Who here is part of the book club?
I am.
You are, okay.
But Lindsay Ritzma started it, and she just wanted to get together with that, so we posted. I talked to Kit also, and with the calendar, again, pushing people to the website, posting all of these things, even if there's a night, you know, tennis or people want, whatever that is, posting it on there so we can push people to the website.
And if we had, I think if we had one good event for every quarter, that's one every 3 months. I think that would be beautiful.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
I think it would be nice, you know, it gives you once every 3 months to come out and mingle with your neighbors, even if it's 3 of those quarters in someone's driveway.
Well, and that's the thing, we talked about,
It doesn't have to be too elaborate.
No.
The
we
pool
talked
party wasn't,
about,
you know, we had a, I
our
don't
block
think,
parties. It was at our place years ago. We
y'all
had a
did
block
one July
party.
4th, didn't you?
We
Because
did.
Collins did one down there,
Yep,
you guys did another
they
down
do
there.
them. And the block parties are easy. We brought up the tables, told everybody bring their chairs. Somebody had a bouncy. We had a bounce house for the kids, and it was a potluck. It was awesome. Just
Yeah, it doesn't, you know, it's not what you pay for the party, it's what you do for the party,
and
you know?
heck,
You can have
we
a good
do
time with nothing.
fall
We even
and
got
put up
somebody
the
with
big
new
screen.
pool in the
Yeah.
neighborhood, we can go hear that.
Yeah.
No pressure, Sharon. She was like, "Oops."
I hear you.
But
hearing all
I
these
would like
stories,
to
right?
see that we have, and not that it's required or pushing anybody, but more the categories of those things for the kids, or those things for couples, or whatever it is that targets, because we have everyone from single people to grandparents to empty nesters to, you know, something that's gonna touch everyone. if
Yeah, of
everyone
course, no
else-
doubt, and one of those quarters is gonna touch you.
Yes.
I mean, the Halloween is for the kids, we know that. You know, Christmas to me is for family. You know, you get another one in there, I mean, something's gonna touch somebody. So, social committee just keep going with those stuff out there. And I don't think the pool party, did it cost the subdivision, the HOA anything?
It did a little
Not
bit,
much.
but
Like
a couple
pennies,
hundred,
right?
maybe $300, $400, just with, you know, the water decorations, the floaties we threw in there, which are still being used.
You know, so that's to me, that's, I hate to use the word cheap, but that's
It is cheap.
inexpensive.
It was
It's
very inexpensive. It was
Inexpensive gatherings that, I mean, you know, I pay dues just like everybody else in here, and it's nice to see where my dues are going,
Yeah, you're right.
rather than just fixing and repairing junk.
Well, and it was really inexpensive because, you know, the Contreras graciously
The pizza.
donated the pizza, and we
It's
asked
more than-
people to
it's
bring.
more than enough pizza.
Yeah, exactly,
More.
but bring something, bring a snack, and people are happy to do
I
that.
think it's beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna say, okay, social committee, just keep working.
Yeah.
Just keep working. I wish Naomi was here, but you can get with Naomi, I'm sure. Just keep working. Tennis committee. We really don't have anyone in tennis, but I know you do a
Sharon?
lot with the tennis.
Sharon,
Is that
is
what
that-
Okay, I remember you said you didn't want to be on the committee, you just
No,
want to be
I
involved.
meant like official board board yet.
Okay.
Oh.
No, I'm still helping Lisa.
Okay. Now I'm gonna put something out here about the tennis. I had a long, extensive text messaging with Lisa.
Lisa.
Yeah. And I don't know if it went negative or what. I didn't mean it to go. I was playing devil's advocate. Okay, with the tennis court. There's a lot of things out about the tennis court. It's a big platform. You can use this, that, whatever. People who are really into tennis is for tennis only. That's what the court is for. I have been to other subdivisions, and because I'm learning with this stuff. Obviously, I have friends, and friends live in subdivisions. I go visit friends, I ask questions. I was in my mind, okay, you got a flat surface, we can use as long as we take bicycles out there and stuff like that. But no matter what you do, people are gonna go a step further. No matter what you do. If you say don't wear tennis shoes, they're gonna go out there with flip flops. They're gonna do it, or they're gonna go with cleats. You know, it's not a tennis shoe, it's a cleat. You know. So then I put in my mind, I talked to Kid, well, the thing needs repairing. Let's go ahead, and this was in my mind, and I had some sidebar Kid. Let's just go and let them do what they want to do until we get it repaired next year. Hopefully we can get a new surface. But then you got to stop, keep in the middle. You got to cut them. I was out there last year, why can't I do it this year? So I'm going to put a proposal out here. Tennis court is for tennis. And let's just leave it at that. You know?
Most other neighborhoods, they have something written specifically
Yes.
that it's
And
for
we
tennis
don't.
only.
What is it being used for?
People are using it for exercising, what do you call it?
Agility.
Agility
Agility.
Agility
training.
exercising, training. And then if you let them, and which they just had sneakers on. Nothing was wrong with that. But then you're going to get another person, well, I want to do agility on my bicycle. The next thing you're going to have
rollerblades
a rollerblades. And that's what we want to stop. Because it is a tennis court.
It's
And
a
it took me
very
a while,
special
and-
surface.
Yeah, and I'm
That's
not going to lie. It
expensive.
took
Well, that's
me
the point.
education from
Yeah.
talking
Yes.
to a lot of other people about this. Because I didn't know. So I played devil's advocate till almost midnight on the phone, trying to learn. I think you were in on the
Part of it, yeah.
And I'm just trying to learn and see what's going on. And yes, there was a little bit of personality thing in there because it was Mr. Cowan. And I understand there's a lot of personality with him throughout the whole subdivision. And I dealt with him. And I had to calm him down. Okay, we don't have to do all this. You and I talk, we're two men, let's talk sensibly. And I had to calm him down. So with all that being said, I'm going to ask for conversation and a motion that we put in some rules and regulations that the tennis court be for tennis only. Now, that's going to bring up the,
Tennis, pickleball, whatever.
that's going to get it wrong or right, pickleball. Now, I understand, again, educate me, that pickleball is something that is 100% done on a tennis court. True or false?
True.
So you are using the tennis lines and everything. So it's part of tennis.
It's a smaller court than tennis, and what we did, and if you haven't been down there, go see. We taped off for regulation pickleball on one of the tennis courts. But before we did that, we got the tape that was used for that
The
purpose.
proper thing.
The actual tape that was recommended, and we did a test in an inconspicuous area for 2 weeks or more, and then we pulled it up and there was no damage to the court. So that's what we've been using. We wanted to get everyone active, and we were interested in it, Steve and I. So we got that little initial set, and now we have, I'm happy to say, about 6, maybe 8 people now that are committing to wanting to come and be a part of it on a regular basis. And they're tennis players also, so they're kind of doing both when they come down, which is good because you get to see everybody in that light. We haven't, since we put the chain up and the new lock, we've not had any more, people coming and doing things they shouldn't be doing, which is great. And we're excited about the possibility of getting it resurfaced. The cracks are still there, and I think speaking on behalf of tennis or pickleball players, if we had had other activities there where you might have other shoes or food or drink or whatever, one, you don't want the surface damaged anymore. You don't want anyone to get hurt, or fall because their shoe hit a crack in a particular way. A little hesitant to broadcast out to say, let's get a big tennis group because we would love that. But we also tell people right now, just be careful. Certain parts of courts are in worse shape than others. Some of the court is perfectly fine. You just kind of watch where you're stepping, and you kind of just keep that in mind as you're playing. But people are committing to buying nice rackets for pickleball, so
Is the racket the same?
no, not at all. And it's kind of derived from ping pong, but it's a tennis handle on some of them, but they're graphite, and there's all kinds of pickleball rackets out there right now. I think someone said the Y is starting that. There's a lot of youth in schools that are teaching pickleball because it can be played indoors really well. So that would be a gift. Like I always think of tennis as a gift to your children to keep them healthy and active. It's a good sport, and it's part of our neighborhood. So we felt really good and positive about that. We appreciate the support of looking at resurfacing, but we're trying to keep it, clean and neat. We appreciate ever who's keeping that as meadows. They're keeping it blown off. We don't have that, and just keeping it safe with all the lights. And we feel really good about the situation right now and making the best of it.
I just want to add to that, and I appreciate what you said. We just have to watch how we word this. It's for tennis only.
Well, yeah, and I think.
And let me say this real quick. When you use the word tennis activities, which includes pickleball, it was thrown in my face. But this individual did the exercising. Or we're out here exercising to play tennis.
Yes, I was just gonna say.
See, so we have to watch how we word it. And I'm not trying to be net with anybody. I don't take nothing personal. I don't know anyone out here that close. And just like I play devil's advocate, you're gonna have someone who's gonna play devil's advocate. We just say tennis. So, and I'm gonna lead this to Kit, because Kit, you're so beautiful at wording things and doing things. How we wanna write the rule up for this tennis court. Tennis, pickleball, whatever. I'm sure, I'm not a tennis player or a pickleball player, but I'm sure there's some type of activity to warm up and exercise for tennis. It's like any sport.
And I will say,
And I don't want that individual to say, well, I'm doing that because I'm exercising to get ready to play tennis, and they're not. You understand I'm going with this? Because I'm all for saying, hey, it's for tennis only.
What type of exercise are we talking about?
They were out there doing
That's what I was-
So
the agility training.
agility training is to get you in shape for basically any type of sport.
Yeah.
So what they were
Get your
doing
body
is
ready.
they had
Cones
trainers.
and tires and
trainers
things like that.
and yeah, so for instance, think about football players or whatever, where they run through the ladders, they do cone
So it
things, they're
involves equipment.
stretching. Yeah, well,
Well-
yes, but they were stretching and doing
There was no
sprints.
equipment, and I'm going to correct you. I talked to Mr. McCowan. There was no trainers. These were all parents of kids that were out there. The kids came from our neighborhood, and they invited some kids from other neighborhoods because they're trying to get the kids ready for Hillgrove football. That's their alternative motive. Now, it might be some other motive in there. Again, I'm not trying to go personal with it. But if we're going to make it a tennis court, we're going to make it a tennis court, and we have to say, okay, a line is drawn, this is what it is. But I want to make sure we close the door for someone to come in and say, well, I'm out here training for tennis. And no, you're not training for tennis. You're trying to play a game with the subdivision. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I want to close the door on. Because I'm sure when you got here to play tennis, just like anything, you're going to do some exercise, so you're going to get cramps in your legs and this and that. And I don't want this other person to play into that. Well, they're exercising out there. I'm going to go exercise. Because we have this mentality. And that's why I'm going to make sure we get through. Because I did talk to the individual, okay? And yeah, I had to calm him down. And I haven't heard anything since. I don't know, but I just want to nip something in the bud. Because we are going to put out this for tennis only. And then once you put this rule, you're going to get this, whoever might fight that rule. Whoever it might be, that's just the way people are. They see a rule, well, I'm going to go against that rule. Because that's what they say, rules are made to be broken. And that's why I want to make sure we don't get into. Because after the conversation I got out there in the communities, different started asking and learning. And everybody wanted a special man. I said, well, I'm just going to keep it quiet, see what happens, and bring it up at this meeting. And Kid and I, we've been conversing a little bit back and forth with it. And my intentions as the part of the board is to get the thing resurfaced. That is I know it's an expensive thing, and it's something I think we can do if we plan it and work towards it. I got the word that it's a 10 to 12 year process every year to do it. But if that's what it is, that's what it is.
Either have it working or we take it out.
You know, it
What's
is.
the point of having
And
it in trash?
you know, you say take it out. We can't do nothing else with the land. I've already talked to people about putting a clubhouse down there. It ain't gonna happen. Because you have to have certain parking for a clubhouse. You gotta have certain zoning for a clubhouse. We don't have it. All that takes money just to get zoning. And then if you put a clubhouse, you have to have parking for enough people in this whole division to park. Where are we gonna put that with the clubhouse? You know, I just don't see. I'm not saying it can't, I just don't see it. You know, so I'm saying let's make work what we have. It's a swim tennis community. Let's make it that. Make people happy with going down there playing. I would love to see you guys get back on the national thing where you're at national tournaments. I think that would be beautiful. We put new tables down there. The blue tables stand out. You know, let's do what we do down there and make it work for everybody.
Can I make a suggestion regarding training and the kids or anyone doing circuit training or whatever that is? My suggestion was if someone in the neighborhood feels strongly for that, we do have a little bit of room down on the playground if they wanted to investigate putting whatever that is. I don't know what those pieces of
Like an
equipment.
outdoor exercise station.
Yeah,
Well, you know, you
whatever
can
that
also,
might be or something because
You
there's
can
room
also use the
there.
parking lot.
Right, exactly.
You know,
the
most
parking
people go to the
lot's there.
swimming pool do not drive themselves.
Right.
You know, you go down there, put you some cones down there, and put a little thing, everybody exercise in the parking
There's
lot.
room for that,
I
but
think
then
the
there's room,
surface is
you
about
know,
the same.
down at the pool. I mean, if it's important to the neighborhood, then and some neighbors, then you know.
But I just think we should move to the tennis court. I mean, again, negatives on that, make it a tennis court applicable to tennis activities. You know,
Yeah, we've
pickleball.
researched like the other neighborhoods, the ones that had that in there.
Yeah.
Which the surface was designed.
Exactly. And like, you know, it's just, you know, if you put out there tennis shoes, there's gonna be someone out there with cleats. But my cleats are my tennis shoes are tennis shoes with cleats on them. They're gonna
We'll
take
get
it a
the
step
legal
further, you know.
language.
So it's for tennis. So I'd like to get a motion that we go ahead and make it a rule that the tennis court is for tennis only.
Tennis or court activities or yeah, that's what I think they need to figure out.
Well,
is
here's the
that.
other thing I might want to interject with you. When you get to have it resurfaced, you can do the dual lines.
Yes.
We checked with the tennis company that did,
Drop pickle lines in. Gotcha.
they're the same thing. It was just gonna cost us an extra almost $400, and we thought a roll of tape was like 30. And we wanna see what the interest is in pickleball before we can say, but we can actually do that in other neighborhoods when you're checking, they have dual or they have just a court for tennis and just a court for pickleball, but we wanted to do both tennis because we want to keep that, but when we do get it restriped, we can do,
We can look into that.
yes.
That's a look.
And it was less expensive to do it when you're doing the
Right.
tennis stripes. So,
We've got about 20 more minutes, guys, and then I gotta get back to you.
Yeah. Matter of fact, 20 minutes is enough time for 2 hours. And we're coming to the end.
Quick question. If we're gonna include, if pickleball is included and we put language in there, tennis,
Court, yeah.
court,
Yeah,
tennis court activity.
yeah, okay.
Or whatever you, however, how you want to word it.
We'll look
Yeah.
at how
We
the
can-
legal language.
Why can't we, right now, what other sports of the tennis court
Right.
besides pickleball and
Exactly.
tennis?
That's
I'm
what
agreeing
I'm
with you
looking
100%.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, I'm agreeing with you.
We should just say the only activity allowed is for tennis and pickleball. And leave it alone, or
Okay.
something like that.
I agree.
We'll look at that, yeah.
And then when someone comes with something else, and they can say, well, that's not, okay.
What
so-
I'll do is I'll look at the actual regulations of tennis and the regulations of pickleball. And, you know, they're going to say things like these kind of shoes and this kind of racket and this kind of ball. You know,
Okay.
all that's going to be in there. So that's how we will define tennis activities.
Great. So in other words, if you come down there to exercise, you either have tennis ball, tennis shoes on, or racquetball. You're not playing tennis, so get out of here.
Yeah.
Tennis shoes for both of those.
Right.
You need a pickleball racket or a tennis ball racket, so they consider
Right.
activity. for tennis.
Because
to me,
if you're
now.
going down there to exercise and get ready for tennis,
Yeah.
you should have your racquetball with you
Yeah,
anyway
yeah.
to play the tennis. I mean, some people, I mean, cause I tell you, I had a big long conversation about this. Believe me, that's why I'm bringing it up to you guys. Cause he told me, well, I'm just gonna go down there and get fit for tennis. I'm like, you're not playing tennis. Why you gonna play this game with
Yeah.
us? So that's why I'm bringing it up to you. I'm bringing the devil to you so you can cut him off at the nip and say, okay, this one's gonna be something. Give me a heads up.
But that won't say stuff like that won't happen.
Of course it is,
Yeah,
but at
I
least
mean, we
So-
address it.
Right, so we're gonna go ahead. I know he has to get, and that's our man for notes. I get a motion on the table. The tennis court will be used for tennis and related activities such as pickleball, and that's it.
Second.
I can't motion it.
I'll motion.
Second the motion.
Vicky, second. Okay, can I get a vote for that now? All in favor of the tennis court being for tennis and pickleball only? Okay, we got 4. Any nays? We have no nays, so that's what it is. Okay, let's move on. So with that being said, I think we should just let the tennis committee deal with reservations for the tennis court. We don't have to worry about anything else now. When you walk down there, someone's playing tennis and not playing some other mess, so that ends that reservation.
And I'm working on, there wasn't a free
It's
version of the reservation,
yes.
online reservation, so I'm having to build one. So I haven't got that completed yet, but then there will be a way to reserve it online on the website.
And that'll be what
Right.
you guys do
Yeah.
what you guys want to do
Yeah.
because you know what you're doing with tennis. Tentative date to upgrade, we're looking at next year. Again, we don't know. We got to see how much money we spend this year, how much we have. But we had the numbers from you and Lisa of what it's going to take. And we're just going to,
And we'll update that.
right, because everything goes up every day.
And we figured the water issue, the drainage issue with the landscape
That
company.
has nothing to do with that court buckling. That court buckled from ages with the sun and everything else. Because that's just a matter of rain. And they took care of that to fix where it's supposed to work.
Yep.
And that's supposed to be minimal water coming out of those anyway. Those are supposed to be what they call vacuum lines where let air go up in there. So that was not an issue that damaged that court. That court got damaged just from
Age, yeah.
age.
Years, yeah.
I mean, it's just like you go to any asphalt thing, they buckle, they do whatever. Next is you, Kit.
Okay. We're gonna go line by line. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to show you the whole actuals to forecast the budget. So actuals will be what we have up to this point. Forecast is what I think they will be, and a lot of these are fixed costs or they've already been paid out, so they're final. So if you see the actuals equal the forecast, then that means it's done already for the year, most likely. The things that are variable and the things I'm looking at specifically are on another page, but I just wanted to mention right here that starting with the income section at the top, you'll notice that we're over budget, which is a good thing for income. And the reason why is because we had some residents pay some dues from previous years, and we'll give Jared full credit for that because he went around and done some people on that. So we're only down, we're missing $150. That's all that's left on the total to be 100% over the past however many years done with that. Insurance is already done. Landscaping, you know, we budget very conservatively because we know we're going to have some things here and there, and so we try to keep things within these sections. And so if you see a positive number in the forecast versus budget, that's a good thing. If you see a negative, just know that the positives in the other groups are going to take care of that over the overall. So everything's looking really good. Something that I've done is I've moved some of the things to capital improvements. Some of these things that are one time and done, like when we put in the security lights, when we fixed the entrance by adding the new power meter. That was a one and done kind of thing. You know, of course, that took months to figure out what was going to be the solution. You know, so that's done. The lights are on now. Only issue I see down there now is when they replace the bulbs, they replace them with different colors. But I have the solution would be move those to, you know, switch them with another one so it's not so obvious in the middle of the lights there. So in the entrance we have 2 trees after you pass the signs, and we can put they replace one of those, and the other one, what we can do is switch out the light that they used out front with that one, so that the 2 trees after you come in the entrance will be the same color.
Gotcha.
And they'll be symmetrical, I guess you could say. Also, the pool cover, that was $8,000, so you'll see that on another page when I look at, because the pool, the power, and the water are like my major factors and what I look at. With power and water being very variable, and I try to, that's why I'm down there turning the tennis lights off sometimes, or going in there and making sure there's no water running in the bathrooms and things like that.
Question, and I know you showed me regarding pool lights, where we had adjusted that. Something's up with that, because we were down there the other evening, and they shut off. They came on and they shut off like 45 minutes later.
I'll go and look at it.
So I don't know if that's
I'll go
something
look at
that
the
has
timer.
to be adjusted
Well,
or
if
whatever.
the power goes out, the timer won't work, and that's gonna throw it off.
Right,
So I'll just go look at it.
and then is it a reset each time the power goes?
No, the power come on, but you got to reset. So the timer is set by clock.
Right,
So if electricity goes off,
and it was,
let's say it's 1 o'clock. It comes back on at 2 o'clock. Well,
It's
now
an hour off.
it's an hour off.
right,
So you have to go in here and
exactly.
just adjust it.
It was all right. Everything was correct. It was right after, it was, a week or so after we had our pool party, and after we had the power issues and everything.
Okay,
But it flipped off. Yep.
Let's get him through the budget.
Yep.
We're gonna get rid of him, then we can talk about that.
Okay.
So the next section I've got is just the cash. It doesn't really tell you a lot other than, that's where we ended up at the end of the year 2018. 2019, we're probably going to be a little bit lower because of the, possibly, I'm not sure, but we might be a little bit lower because of these extra capital expenses like the entrance and the pool cover and the security light. But we will still have, quite a bit in reserve. We just may not have the 50,000 that we're hoping for, but we should have plenty enough to take care of the tennis courts next year. The final page, I'm showing you the expenses of the pool, for example. Up the top, we've actually only paid those 3 invoices there, and then the next section is the ones that we owe for, but we haven't received invoices, and those are the regular operations, and then the final section. But all of those that are part of the contract, we know we're going to pay, and those aren't out of the ordinary. The ones where we're paying the extra week, or if we have a new pump motor or chlorinator, those kinds of things are the extra things, and we still have some room to pay for those in the budget. For the power, let's see, what was I going to show here? Okay, so if we're only halfway through to June, we're shooting for 7,500 is kind of what I expected, and that's what we put in the budget. So I think we're totally within reason there of making that. And then with the water, I think we're actually going to save quite a bit on the water.
I'm lost. What
Last
you
page.
just said?
The very last page, sorry.
Huh?
I'm on the last page.
Oh,
It's on the last page.
Third page.
Last page. That's 4
It must be-
pages.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So these are just the major things that I look at.
This one right.
Okay, I'm with you now.
So these are the things I try to, you kind of have to stay on top of because they can get way out there in expenses. So with the pool, we've actually done really well with water, and that's I don't know what May would have looked like because we had the water leak and then they paid everything but 700, so we ended up with 700. Don't know if that was about where we were going to be or not, but that's a little bit lower than normal. Normally it was based on last year, it was over that. So you'll see the variance from 2018 there to the side, and you'll see that the negative numbers are good for us. So right now through July we have a total savings of about $500, and so if you look at the bottom actuals through July in total, we had budgeted for 5,500, and so I think we're going to come way under that. We'll see. I don't know what's going to happen in the next few months, that we may have to do something crazy with the pool and put a lot of water in it, but right now I don't see that. So everything looks good. The last thing I was going to say is that I've been using QuickBooks Online. The benefits that I saw, the biggest one was that I was able to send out the invoices electronically, and about a little over 50% of the neighborhood used that, which was great, but at the same time it's all the same amount, so when they come in it's very hard to reconcile them. So I don't know if it helped me that much, but I didn't have to deal with paper and going to the post office, which again, we moved the mailbox, so it gives me a reason to walk down there every day. So I'm thinking they've gone up on cost on mid-year on the QuickBooks, and it doesn't even have the budget feature. And everything you're looking at here, I actually do this in parallel in Google Sheets.
Oh,
So we don't have a huge budget. It's not even a lot of transactions. I have our entire checking register in there. You can go and look at everything that goes on every single day. And then I have the budget. I have all of this in there. So,
It's more than awesome.
so I think I'm going to go ahead and cancel the QuickBooks because no one in the neighborhood even notices that I'm using QuickBooks. It's all through this Google Sheets right now anyway. And the only thing I use there was the invoices, and I do the bank reconciliations there, which gives me a report. But actually, I do it live in the checking account. So every month when I get a new bill, you'll see which ones have cleared, and you'll see the difference in the balance. So I really don't see the need for it. So I'm
Now
gonna
to
go ahead.
take away the online payment option though, right?
I will do it a different way. So our
So we can
website
do-
actually does online invoicing too. So I can even do it through our website.
Let me get something here before we carry on. Can I get a motion to accept the budget as read?
Oh, I make a motion that we accept the budget as presented.
Can I get a second? Can I get a vote? We accept the budget. Okay, everybody. Okay, now we can go ahead and keep talking about what you're talking.
Yeah. So I'm pretty much done. That's
So
the
you're
last
going
thing.
just to Google?
Just the Google Sheets, which I've been doing the whole time anyway. I'm just going to drop the QuickBooks, and then I'll figure out between now and the end of the year how I'm going to do the invoices. Which again, we could go back to paper, but I don't want to do that. The thing with Wix is that if you're a member of our website, which we hope everybody is going there, it uses that to invoice. So I don't have a separate list of contacts anyway. I just use the website as whoever a member is there. So you'll receive an invoice that way. And actually, every time we send out a newsletter or anything that goes out to all the members, it goes out to the ones who are non-members as well. And that's how we get a trickling of new members to the website. Every now and then. I will say when the first day the pool opened, I wasn't even in town, but that's when everybody clicked and said, "Oh yeah, now I want to be a member because I want the pool code."
Yeah.
And so the next day I checked my messages. I had a bunch of messages where people wanted the pool code, and I'm like, well, I hope they got in. I mean, I've been sending this out for months.
But see, changing it every month is,
That's another one I've been thinking
Okay, I'm
about.
gonna carry on because I know he's got to get out of here. We have any new business to bring up for next meeting? Our next meeting, I think, is when we'll keep on with the tennis court. That's a big expenditure. And that also carry over, we should have some more in the pumps. I think sending those pumps off, that's not gonna be an overnight process. Yeah. Can we get our next meeting? Sometime in September. And just so everybody knows, we're gonna try and do the library again. It's just that we had the library scheduled, and they came back and took it away from us. That's why we're here. So we'll try the library again. So can we get I guess the third week of September? Does that sound good? That'd be right when the pool's closing and a lot of stuff going on.
got, hold on. Third week, well, the fourth week is Cobb County's fall break.
Fall break.
So you won't want it that weekend.
Okay.
You'd need to do it probably the weekend or if we're gonna keep it to Sundays, the 15th of September. Unless we wanna push into the 6th of October.
We can go at the 15th of September because we got a lot of time to change it if necessary. I just want to get something in a minute because he's got to get out of here. So let's go at the 15th of September and we'll say 2 o'clock again at Switzer Library.
Switzer, they're closed until they're closing as of July 1 for renovations. The library
they've already closed.
Or
That's-
That's
So
why
we
we
had
had our meeting.
We had it booked and then called them and confirmed
That's
that
why
no,
I
it's
called
closed
it
for
September.
renovation.
But we'll see.
No, but
We'll-
I think it's the end of September. I got an email.
We'll we'll carry
We
on.
can amend it if we need.
Yeah, we can always amend it. We'll carry
Okay.
on. Does anybody else what's going around table real quick? Anything to say? We appreciate you coming. Anything?
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming. Appreciate your input in the tennis court.
Thank you.
Jen, you have anything?
Offline.
Okay. Sidebar. Cole, you have anything?
Okay.
You have anything? Kid? You have anything as our new member? Welcome aboard.
Thanks. Happy to meet everybody.
And we hope you get involved just like you are today.
That's right.
Always looking for involvement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be too much, but it's okay.
Okay.
Say Clay, stop.
I've said my piece already.
Okay, you have anything? I want to thank you for your knowledge because I learned a lot
Really?
with that mom.
Yes, thank
I
you.
really did. I appreciate that. I really do. Because I didn't know what the pumps were for. I thought they were just for looks.
Yeah, I did too.
But it makes a lot of sense what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like an aquarium. I don't have anything. I want to appreciate everybody that came. We know that Jared couldn't be here because he's on the highway. Again, we're going to get you for the signs. Start doing that.
Yep.
Or whatever, and we'll just keep it on. And can I get a motion to close the meeting at 3:56?
Kind of much.
Got a motion from Kid and a second from Cole, and we stand adjourned.
All right.
All right.
Gotcha.